Alright folks, no beating around the cosmic bush. Let's dive straight into the ridiculously wrong beliefs about Earth that our ancestors clung to like a flat earther to their evidence. Number 8. Earth is a giant pet, or several. Ever wondered if an earthquake is just a colossal cosmic cow sneezing? Sounds like something a toddler came up with, right? Well, for many ancient folks, this was cutting-edge bovine physics, a mythological marvel of scientific inquiry. In ancient India, they had a whole tiered animal support system, Earth resting comfortably on the backs of 4 enormous elephants. These 4 elephants, in turn, were balancing on a turtle as massive as a mountain. And this mountain turtle, it was just chilling, swimming in an endless ocean. Seriously, it's a model of the universe so complex, you need a whiteboard and a strong coffee just to diagram it without your brain melting. But for them, it was gospel. No need for telescopes or NASA. Just a few planet-sized mythical beasts did the trick. And the logic? Oh, it was airtight in its own peculiar way. Earthquake? Probably an elephant shifting its weight? Or the turtle wiggling? Tsunami? Definitely that cow sneezing again. Thunder and lightning? Clearly the turtle's having a bad day. No talk of tectonic plates or seismic energy, just a giant animal feeling a bit off. Here's the kicker. When asked, "So what's that turtle standing on?" they didn't even bat an ancient eyelid. "Another turtle," they'd confidently declare. "And that one? Oh, just another one. Silly." Thus, the infinitely stacking turtle myth was born. A logical loop with no end in sight. But everyone just nodded along. Because, if you add enough turtle layers, eventually no one can argue anymore. This system, honestly, perfectly mirrors our own human condition. We can't stand not having an answer. If something's unexplained, we'll just invent a plausible or implausible one. And if the answer sounds utterly ridiculous, meh, as long as it's asterisk and's answer. Nowadays, when we ponder hologram universes, simulated realities, or Earth being a giant alien Lego set, we pat ourselves on the back for being so modern. But really, we're just upgraded ancients, swapping turtles for AI. And Elemis, even if he flies to Mars, will simply be the first person not to blame a cow for an earthquake. Number 7. Earth is a giant flat pizza with extra toppings. If someone tells you the Earth is flat today, your first instinct is probably to snort laugh. But hold your horses. Had you been born 3,000 years ago, you would have been the one giggling at those weirdos claiming the Earth was, like, trum around. The Babylonians, Egyptians, and ancient Greeks were absolutely convinced our planet was a flat disk bobbing around in a cosmic sea. Their evidence? It looks flat. You could walk for days without hitting a slope. The sun rose and set, and nobody ever fell off the edge. QED. Earth is flat. Case closed. The Egyptians, being extra, imagined the sky as the giant goddess Nut arching over the earth, who was the god Geb, 2 lovers tragically separated by the god of air. The Sumerians envisioned a bronze dome above us, holding up the celestial ocean, a universe both poetic and, frankly, a little claustrophobic. Other civilizations believed the edge of the Earth had a massive ice wall to stop all the water from spilling out. Basically, in their minds, Earth was a colossal pizza with the North Pole as the cheesy center and Antarctica as the icy, unappetizing crust. Then, along came Eratosthenes, the ultimate ancient nerd. Armed with nothing but a stick, a well, and a sunbeam, this guy calculated the Earth's circumference so accurately that modern GPS would probably give him a high five. With just math and sunlight, he single-handedly flattened the entire flat Earth academic world. But the story doesn't end there. Over 2,000 years later, with satellite photos, the ISS beaming down live videos of a rotating Earth, we still have people proudly declaring the Earth is flat, and NASA is just a grand conspiracy. Goes to show you, belief doesn't need logic, it just needs Wi-Fi. And who knows, a few millennia from now, our descendants might be looking back at our beliefs and having a good old chuckle too. Number 6. Earth is the universe's ego trip. Geocentrism. This, my friends, is the grand love story between humanity and its own boundless self-importance. Before Copernicus dropped the ultimate mic, everyone just knew Earth was the absolute center of everything. The sun, moon, stars, planets, all of them just bit players, orbiting us, the main character, to perfectly frame our magnificent existence. The Greeks, ever so dramatic, called this the geocentric model. Aristotle dressed it up in fancy philosophical robes, declaring Earth was perfectly still and central, with all celestial bodies gracefully twirling around us in perfect circles, because circles are, like, super sacred. Lemmy later refined this by adding dozens of epicycles, basically circles on circles, to explain why planets sometimes did a little cosmic tango. In essence, the universe was a gigantic clock, and we were the super important central hand. And let's be honest, it was incredibly comforting. Who wouldn't want to believe the entire cosmos was designed to shine a spotlight on them, that everything existed for our glorious purpose? Then Copernicus shows up, practically tossing a grenade into the cosmic cuddle puddle. Actually, the sun's the center, my dudes. Galileo chimed in with his telescope, revealing a pockmarked moon and Jupiter with its own posse of satellites. Turns out, we weren't so special after all. Society's reaction? They basically wanted to hurl Copernicus and Galileo off the Earth to prove Earth was the center. It was arguably the biggest shock to human thought ever. We aren't the center of squat. We're just a speck of dust orbiting a perfectly average star in an utterly unremarkable galaxy among hundreds of billions of others. And even though science proved this centuries ago, that geocentric instinct still lingers. See a rainbow? Oh, the universe is sending Kami some message. Phone dies mid-argument. The universe is punishing. Nah, you're not being punished. You're just a tiny organism on a tiny planet orbiting a tiny star, and you're dramatically overplaying your role. Geocentrism never truly died. It just moved from astronomy books into the human brain. Number 5. Earth is the universe's magic trick. How does it stay up? Ever stared at the sky and thought, oh, why isn't Earth just, falling? Nowadays, we'd casually say, gravity, duh, Newton explained it. But rewind a few millennia, and that question was enough to give ancient philosophers insomnia for weeks. And the answers they cooked up? They sound like rejected plot lines from a mythological soap opera. Early Greeks, for instance, were convinced Earth was just floating on water. Yep, our planet was basically a giant lily pad, bobbing in the cosmic ocean. Earthquake? Easy peasy, the water's just sloshing around. A neat, understandable model, absolutely free of pesky formulas. Then Anna came along, claiming Earth was held up by air. According to him, air was like the soul of humanity, cradling the Earth and keeping it afloat. A rather sweet, mother wind holding up the world kind of concept. Other philosophers, however, declared, nah, Earth doesn't need anything to hold it up. It just sits there, perfectly balanced. So, our planet was like a divine rock statically suspended in the void because, well, it just had no reason to fall. Sounds absurd, right? But they were just doing what humans always do, inventing answers to calm their existential dread. Imagine being an ancient person. No satellites, no Earth photos, no Google to ask. You see the sky, you know you're on something big and scary. And when fear gets too big, humans usually blame the gods. Earth isn't falling because the gods are holding it up. Anyone who dared ask how the gods were doing it probably got a one-way ticket to an ancient bonfire. Later, in the Hellenistic period, when philosophy got a bit more serious, someone dared to ask, if Earth were to fall, where would it fall to? That seemingly dumb question, ironically, paved the way for modern physics. Science, apparently, begins when humans dare to ask the truly stupid questions. Number 4. Earth needs a ventilate because it breathes. Yes, you read that right. According to some medieval scholars, Earth had a pulse, not in some poetic nature is alive kind of way, but literally like a giant cosmic organism inhaling and exhaling. This idea popped up in various cultures, especially before anyone had a clue about atmospheres. When they saw phenomena like fog, wind, volcanic eruptions, hot springs, or chilly cave air, they'd think, aha, Earth is taking a big OL, breath. Some monks even explained storms with the theory that Earth was tyrannicharking. You heard that correctly. When strong winds blew, they'd declare, the Earth inhaled too deeply and is now coughing. If TikTok existed back then, the Earth breathing challenge would have gone viral. It sounds hilarious, but this theory actually reflects how ancient people viewed the universe. They didn't separate humanity from nature. To them, Earth was alive, just like us, but on a universal scale. Rivers were its blood, forests its lungs, land its skin, and volcanoes its pimples. Every natural phenomenon was personified because it was the only way they could comprehend it. No talk of atmospheric pressure, carbon cycles, or meteorological dynamics, just Earth doing its breathing thing. Of course, later science thoroughly debunked this model. But here's the fun part. In our modern era, we've circled back to similar concepts. Ecosystems as living organisms, Mother Gaia. In other words, we're just repeating old ideas, but with fancier vocabulary. Earth doesn't literally breathe, but we still love to imagine it does, probably because we desperately want to believe we're not alone in this vast, scary universe. Here's that second half, served up with a side of cosmic chuckles. We're still the kind of folks who prefer a good old gut feeling over those pesky, inconvenient things called facts. Back in the day, folks would just peek out the window, observe the Earth doing its best impression of a parked car, and logically conclude, "Yup, not spinning. Mystery solved." Now, we're so incredibly important, we basically assume the entire universe was just created to give us a reason to exist. Talk about main character syndrome. Turns out, the Earth standing still theory was just an ancient, cosmic-level humble brag for humanity's ego, perpetually convinced it's the chill, unmoving center of a totally bonkers universe. Spoiler, we're actually just a tiny, spinning speck. If you've read this far, and your head is spinning from all the utterly wild Earth versions we've cooked up, then congratulations. You've just time-traveled through millennia of humanity's finest science fiction, a good chunk of which we actually took seriously. So let's not be too quick to snicker at our ancestors. Chances are, a few thousand years from now, our great-great-great-grand aliens will be having a good old chuckle at our enlightened theories. Alright, that's enough cosmic contemplation for one day. Now, go forth and engage with this profound silliness. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the cosmic notification bell for more existential giggles. See you next time, fellow travelers.